Marietta, boiling and kept it cold.
Well, I had a spring house.
It'll be just a second.
Had a spring house to put it in.
Okay, we'll start from the beginning. If you tell us about the kinds of foods, how you raised them on the farm or whatever, and then how you kept things cool.
Well, we just I raised on the farm. I raised everything we eat except flour and meal and coffee and sugar. That's all we had to buy. Flour and coffee and sugar. Was all, we had our own lard, had our own milk and butter, and we just raised what we eat, kept it all summer and winter long. Just the milk and butter and stuff like that, it would spoil it, take it to the spring house and put it down there where it'd stay cool. You see, the spring would run through the spring house, and the water'd keep it cool. I didn't know nothing about no Frigidaires nor ice boxes nor nothing when I was growing up.
Alrighty. Tell us about the big Sunday dinners, how people used to come over and all join and sit down and have a big Sunday dinner together.
Well, we'd all just gather up and everybody would cook a dish or something other and bring it to your house, or you'd go to their house, and you just, neighbors like, you know, just everybody go in together and fix up a big dinner. We'd go off take trucks and go off on a picnic and things like that, and everybody just pitch in and fix their dinners all together. Spread it out on the ground. If it didn't have no table or nothing, just spread it out on the ground, and everybody go around and get what they wanted.
Alrighty. Tell us a bit, Marietta, about farm life, how hard it was to grow up on a farm, that you worked from first thing in the morning to last thing at daytime.
Yeah, we'd go to work by daylight and stay till dark. We'd get up in the morning before daylight and go and feed the stock. And while they was eating, we'd eat our breakfast, go and hook up and go on to your farm, whatever you was going to plant or raise. And then come in at dark. We'd take our lunch with us. If it was far enough off that we couldn't come home, we'd take our lunch with us.
All right, just a couple more. Tell us, back again when you were young and whatnot, that people used to do a lot of walking and didn't think anything about it. You'd walk.
Well, I've walked miles.
Okay.
I done all my walking to school and everywhere.
Okay. All right. So yeah, tell us about how you'd walk for miles to go wherever, and you never thought anything about it. Tell us about walking.
Well, we'd just walk and we'd go and just for miles and pick berries, and wherever, if we didn't have no other way going, we'd just walk and go. We'd walk for miles and pick berries and walk for miles and go to the store to take eggs and sell them for 10 cents a dozen to get what we didn't have at home. 10 cents a dozen. And go for miles and pick blackberries and send that and sell them for 10 cents a gallon to help buy what we didn't raise.
Okay, just okay. Tell us about how you kept the homes heated in the wintertime, how you stay warm in house, and how you stay cool in the summertime. And tell us about the plumbing and stuff, how you got by it.
We didn't stay cool in the summertime much, but we'd stay warm in the wintertime. We had a fireplace, and we just filled that old fireplace full of wood. It just heat up the whole house. Keep fire all night, put a great big old long back stick on there, and then put your wood on there, and you've got a good fire.
Okay. All righty, just a couple more. Tell us, again, when you didn't rush people to the hospitals, they didn't have ambulances, you had midwives, and they'd come by and help. Tell us, because a lot of people don't know about that, tell us about that.
Yeah, I had midwives. We never, if we couldn't get no doctor, why, there's always a midwife ready for you. We didn't know nothing about no hospitals. We was all born at home with midwives.
All right, Marietta, we'll do some more on that one. Tell us that again, and then tell us how, you didn't go to the doctor to check on how the baby was coming along. You'd just get pregnant and you'd carry the baby for 9 months, and they didn't be running down to the doctors every week to see how.
No, I didn't go to no doctors. No, sir. Never went to no doctors. Ain't but one time that I can remember of a doctor, and I had diphtheria, and they had a doctor with me then. And that's the only time that I can remember about a doctor. My mother done all our doctor.
When a woman got pregnant, she didn't go to a doctor, and she just stayed at home and waited the 9 months, went about business, worked just right.
Absolutely.
Worked right up to the time the baby was born. She didn't lay down and wait for the baby to come. She worked just like she did before.
Scrubbed the floors and made jelly, and went all of that, and went right to bed, and she was born.
All right, that's what we want to hear. Tell us how people didn't coddle themselves. They worked, pregnant or not pregnant, right up to
Absolutely,
that. And
absolutely.
then the midwife came. You didn't rush off to the doctor. Didn't have all these modern gadgets. That you just went to bed and had the baby, and then it wasn't too much longer, and you were up again working.
Absolutely.
All right.
I worked right on up to the day mine was born.
Okay, Marietta, tell us about it. Tell us about how you worked right up to the time the baby was born and all.
Well, I worked for people. I wash, scrub, iron, and clean house, windows, and everything. Right on up till mine was born. Go home and go to bed, and one of them be born. And I believe it was two before. Well, I had doctors then, for there wasn't no midwife. I had two be born before the doctor even got there. Elizabeth was, that girl that just left here, she was born before the doctor got there. And about 2 o'clock.
I'll tell you what, Marietta, we got one more question here. Tell us about when people would die, and how the funerals were held, and how the bodies were kept right in the house, and people come over and view the body.
Absolutely, they was kept right at home, and the way they'd keep them over, they would take whiskey and wash them in whiskey, and then set a bowl of whiskey on them, and that kept them over. They ain't no funeral home. And then when they died, they'd hook up a horse to a wagon, take them on off to the cemetery, to the funeral.
Tell us about how people would come and view the body.
Huh?
How the people would come in the house and look at the body. They'd see the body in the house.
Well, they just come just like they'd go to a funeral home. They just come there and set up with you, just like they do at the funeral home. Some of the funeral homes won't let you stay with them. Brian's won't. Now, But they just come and set up with you, and they do your work while they're there with you and everything. You didn't even have to cook or nothing while they're laying a corpse. They do your cooking and everything.
Okay, well, we're finished. No point in putting stuff back in the truck, we just set it here and then transport it to the new truck when it comes. Yesterday, when it was real cold, I went down, I live not too far from the airport, and I went down to the weather station, just happened to be driving by anyway, and I wanted to find out how cold it was. They told me it was 2 below zero in Chattanooga yesterday. 2 below. Said that the coldest it ever been in Chattanooga was 10 below, that we came that close to setting an all-time record. So, and our windows in our house, we have sealed heat, and we keep portions of the house warm, but not the whole house because it costs too much. So the windows were ice all, you couldn't even look out the windows on some of the, it was just that cold. And then the side, I had to get out there with a shovel and shovel off the sidewalk so you could walk so that, you know, the ice would come.
I ain't been outside since this has been on.
Oh, for a week then, have you been inside, huh? Yeah. Well, they told us today that we're supposed to get up about 40. I don't think we're going to do it, but later in the week they said 50 or